How's it going, everybody? Sit here in the truck, just got home from work. It's raining. I like listening to it hit the pitter pattering on the metal roof of the vehicle. It's nice and soothing. I'm assuming that it's the precursor to a cool front that's probably moving in. It's getting that time of year where just about every week they start rolling in. Let's see what the temperature is supposed to be like. So this video is kind of I don't know, I've been thinking about making a video like this for a while, and I kind of wanted to go ahead and get it out. I also wanted to talk about a couple things. I'll try to keep it around 10 minutes. Not everybody has a very long attention span. It'd be nice if I could keep it to 5 minutes, but it's not going to happen. Got too much to say. First off, I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about what I consider a good chainsaw, or what makes a chainsaw good, or thereabouts, and my personal preference. If knowing what I know and seeing what I've seen, what I would choose if I was going into business and I needed a saw, if I was going to live on the end of a saw. So what makes a saw good? Well, quite frankly, it's does it do what you need it to do, and are you happy with the job that it does? I watch a lot of people on YouTube. I jump from channel to channel to channel based on chainsaws, essentially. I mean, obviously, firewood's not a huge thing down here. I mean, it is, but I'm not about to go start a firewood business or anything like that. So that's not necessarily what really tickles my fancy. But I'll watch some firewood guys every now and then, just jumping around, mix things up. And I increasingly see people in comments in these homesteaders, firewood guys, depending on how large their operation is. And a lot of them are running smaller saws. Quite a few box store saws, little Echoes, Poland Pros, box store Huskies like the Ranchers and stuff like that. And I increasingly see people in the comments saying, oh, you need to get a real saw, and that saw is a piece of junk, and all this other kind of stuff, right? And it irritates me. And the reason it irritates me is because what I consider a good saw is if it does what that person needs it to do, then it's a good saw. If they have no complaints about that saw, and it does what they need it to do, and it does it reliably, How can you say that saw is a piece of junk? You may consider it a piece of junk because it's made out of plastic, but at the same time, you don't own that particular saw, so how do you know? You may have owned a saw by that manufacturer and that model, and it may have upset you in some way, but not that particular saw. You know what I mean? It's like anything. When you buy vehicles, you could get a lemon. You can get a lemon straight out of the factory. It's just the way things work. You will never hear me talk bad about a saw. You may hear me talk bad about design flaws, and how people should be slapped in the face for doing things a certain way. But you won't ever hear me talk bad about the saws in general, because some people really like them. Have no issues with them whatsoever. I run across just as many people who say the Poulan Pro saw they bought at Walmart or Tractor Supply or Lowe's has never failed them. Just as many people say that as that they're a piece of junk and they don't last. My Poulan video has thousands of views now. And if you just went and looked through the comments, there's tons of people that have had good experiences with those plastic saws. So, now that I got that off my chest, and another thing, I'll add to that, a lot of these firewood guys and stuff, they don't need big saws. Why do they need $1,000 pro saw to go cut firewood? They don't. Especially if they're not large scale. If they got just a little 25-ton wood splitter, they cut everything by hand out in the woods and have, 5 or 10 cord of wood on their lot that they sell on a regular basis. Why do they need a pro saw? They don't need a pro saw. As long as the saws that they have work for them, they don't need a pro saw. But say if I was going to move on to the next thing, I was going to buy a saw, knowing what I know, what would I buy? Well, if I was doing stuff around the house and on the farm, I would, and this may hurt people's feelings, but I would buy a Makita or Echo. That's what I'd buy. Probably either what is it, an EA 5600 Makita, and there's a couple other Makitas in that 50cc range that are really good, or an Echo 590. That's what I would buy for that. Or because those are relatively cheap saws that are reliable, and then you can count on them to run and be strong. Another one's I think the Makita, it's 5105 or something like that. That's a strong saw for its size. If I was going logging, what would I pick? Well, that would be kind of a toss-up between a Makita or Husky. Maybe Steel. But it would have to be a 661 with a fully adjustable carburetor. If I couldn't get one of those, then I would go with a 390 XP or 395. Probably a 390. That's what I would log with and modify it. Now, I would be curious to get into an Echo 800. I thought I read somewhere where they changed up their transfer design, and it's a quad loop open transfer just like a 395. So I'd be interesting to see. I would be interested to see how that run modified. Wish I had one. I've looked for deals on them. I can't find any that are close enough to me. But it has to be the newer 800Ps. The 8000s are just a dual loop open, just like all the other older saws. The two manufacturers that have my attention right now are Echo and Makita. Though Makita is kind of on their way out. A lot of their good strong pro, their good traditional saws are being phased out right now, which is unfortunate. Pretty soon Echo may be the only one that's still manufacturing traditional type saws, as long as Husqvarna keeps they don't phase out their 390 and 395, which there's a scare that they're trying to phase the 395 out. Going to that electronic stratified design to appease the EPA gods. Stupid EPA. I can see in the future, if the quality of this aftermarket stuff continues to get better year after year like it's been doing, a lot of people are going to resort to putting together saws from scratch based on old designs, because I already know what's going to happen. All this electronic stuff that's working okay now, whenever these large companies are looking to cut costs, they're going to change the manufacturer of these electronic components so they can manufacture them cheaper and get a better margin. Then the quality of those electronics are going to go down, and then we're going to start having issues out of them. Mark my words, that's going to happen. And then what are you left with? You're left with something that you can't diagnose. You just have to buy low grade replacement parts that aren't going to be cheap because they're OEM to go back in there, and you're constantly going to be breaking down. Look at phones, how phones are garbage now. They barely last a year. It's going to happen. All you people who, don't get me wrong, they run fine now, but just wait. Just wait. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong. But anyway, this thing's already 15 minutes long. I rambled on about 3 minutes longer than I wanted to. But, you know, that's just kind of what I was feeling right now. Wanted to get it on video. So we'll talk to you next time.